Play hard and love big radio podcast. Inspiration on your station with the show broadcast. You don't want to miss it. You gotta listen. Good vibes and stories for you to go the distance. Bringing inspiration, stories that shine. Helping you connect heart and mind align. Live your best life, lift up and soar. Fueled by kumquat energy, we give you more. Play hard and love big.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Play Hard and Love Big Radio, the official podcast of Spotted Dog Yoga and Stand-Up Paddleboard Company based out of Folsom, CA. And you are tuning in to the Mindful Dude Show with Nick Clark, Dan Nevins, and special guest Amber Miskovich. Amber Miskovich is back on the show. She was on the show with me a couple years ago now. And I actually took the time to listen to that episode a couple nights ago. And I was impressed at how much awesome information we covered in that show. It was great. But just a little bit of a brief background for you on Amber, and then we'll jump right into the content. Amber lives in Ohio with her amazing family. She's a big-time public speaker. She's the founder of Wonder Within. She's an ex-medic in the Air Force, an ex-firefighter, and she's just an awesome person. We're so glad to have you on the show. Dan, how do you know Amber?
We actually met at the Unbreakable program through Baptist Yoga up in San Francisco. I think it was at Sean, the amazing Sean Silvera's studio, Sean and Jen Silvera. And yeah, there was just like this instant connection. I'm like, oh, she's like my people. Like you can tell when someone has, I don't want to put anything around it, but you can tell when somebody is served. It's just their language, the way they talk, the way they speak and act and move. Super easy to talk to, super like a bright light in the room. And it was like, oh, whoa, I kind of dig this person.
Yeah, kind of dig this person. Amber, so glad you're here. How you doing there, my friend? What's new with you?
That's good. You know what, Nick, weren't you there too? Weren't you at that? Wasn't it the first Unbreakable, Dan, in San Francisco?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was there. I came and I helped you guys out. That's right. I took a bus from Sacramento to San Francisco, and then I walked through all the way across the island. I walked all the way over through San Francisco and over to the studio and did that. That was super fun. Yeah. Is that where we first met then, Amber, right there?
Yeah, but I don't think I really knew you much until I think I went and did like Fit to Lead, because you were kind of helping Baron that whole time throughout that. So, but you guys are both just amazing human beings, and thanks, Dan, for that. I mean, they both just light, and I just love you both. I love that you're doing this. And I don't want to say this, but you know, in the yoga world that we're all three in, but we also have so much other things that each of us do outside of that part of us. It's really special to find badass men that are also mindful, and I really consider both of you that, and both just are in my heart. So I'm so stoked to be here with you guys today.
Thank you so much. And Amber, so this is very important, by the way. So we're the Mindful Dudes, right? And we've always said, well, hey, if we have like a female guest, you know, a woman on the show, and there's like the natural, we've gotten some mixed feedback. I'm a fan of Mindful Babes, but people are like, well, it's dudes and dudettes. And I just think dudettes is just sort of like, it lands kind of really flat. It lands like sort of lesser. But do you have an opinion? Do you have what would you like to be if you were?
If I were to choose between the two, I would do Babes. I think of the Beach Boys. I like that.
Is there a better?
I mean, I prefer Lioness, but you know,
okay, that's very specific. Mindful Dudes, and then the Mindful Lioness. I feel that makes us look bad, right? We could change our show to the Mindful Lions.
Oh, yeah, that's it. We might get a little more traction.
Right? Remember Snoop Dogg changed to Snoop Lion? Actually,
that's right.
Back here, me and Snoop, he was going by Snoop Lion at the time.
I don't remember that.
What's happening on the photo? Public consumption, but
well, you know, Snoop Lion. That was his like reggae tone, right?
Some like spiritual coach, and she said, "No, not dog. Like it's lion."
And
he took it on for a while, and then I don't think it was as recognizable. So I think he's fine with Snoop Dogg now.
Well, and I don't know how far we want to go down the Snoop Dogg trail, but I will say, just in case you didn't know, he has like a kids album out, and it's pretty funny. You should check it out. Amber, pull it out. Dan, pull it out. My kids love it. He's got some really good songs that are super positive and upbeat, but you got to make sure you don't put him on the random shuffle, because you just like get a random shuffle of Snoop Dogg and you're going from Crayolas to something else, real quick.
Yeah.
I love Snoop.
Yeah. Snoop a loop. So a couple things that are new. This isn't the rooster show anymore. I'm sorry to hear about your roosters. What happened? The raccoons got a hold of the roosters?
The chickens were my son's responsibility, and long story short, he captured a 30-pound raccoon that had been missed. We missing eggs. The eggs kept coming up missing. At one point, not that long ago, we had 14 chickens total, a hen or one rooster, and all the rest hens. And now we're at 0. So we'll start a new flock. But yeah, the last time we talked, it was every minute. I
lost all my chickens too.
You did?
Yeah, different.
Not by an alligator.
No, not an alligator. So the first one for sure, I had like 8 at the peak. A couple roosters, had to get rid of them, and because we can't have roosters where I live. And then the first one was a hawk for sure, and then we put up all the hawk deterrents, some owls, some sparkly things, and that was good for a while. But we think it was a bobcat or a fox, because we've seen a fox in the front yard, and our neighbor saw a bobcat with one of our chickens in its mouth in their yard. And so it's a mix of land, and we live where there's just every natural predator for a chicken is right here. And so before we reflock, I'm building a bigger run so they can't free range unless they're supervised, because they were just out. They were in the neighbor's yard all the time doing whatever they wanted, and they loved it. The neighbors, I'm sure the chickens did too. Yeah, we gotta rethink the strategy. I don't want them to become prey, and I really want my fresh eggs back.
But everybody loves chicken.
Exactly, and a 30-pound raccoon is a monster. Holy smokes!
Yeah.
My
He took
dog's
pride in
5 pounds, which it's almost twice as big. But a raccoon half the size of my dog is a monster.
Yeah,
I'd be afraid of that. Actually, raccoons are not pleasant creatures. If you scare them or if they're pissed, they're not happy. They'll shriek at you. Have you ever had a raccoon shriek at you or hiss at you or whatever they're doing? They show their claws and show their teeth, and it's like, okay, you can have whatever you want. Yeah, it reminds me of my kids when they wake up too early.
And that breath.
That's right. Amber, what's going on with the Wonder Within? I know you're just kicking some butt, and I've been watching the pictures come up and the things happen. Actually, maybe just could you give the listeners a little brief detail about what it is that you're doing, and then let us know some updates on what's happening with you there?
Absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity. So the Wonder Within, my maiden name was Wonderly, and I kind of had that vision of this in 2005, but it was originally started to bring all types of wellness to everyone. But we were specializing in veterans and first responders. So first, with the brick and mortar that I had, we had 3 studios at one point. 3 separate. I had one location that grew at another in Delaware. But we were doing all types of wellness. We were doing free yoga for vets and first responders. And then it transitioned to, we started doing on-site wellness for firefighters and some police departments. And during COVID, I just started getting asked to speak. And I had done a little bit of speaking with the fire academy, teaching nutrition and things, but not on the level at all like Dan. But I just had been starting to get asked to speak specifically through COVID. And then my brother died. And so just all these things transitioned. So we went away from brick and mortar. We're at anywhere between 20 and 30 stations per week that we're at right now, doing on-site wellness. And I've got 7 to 8 ladies that help me weekly with that. And then I do public speaking and training, and it's been really awesome. But I also homeschool 2 kids. So I really am mindful on what I choose, meaning it's got to, really serve me. And I feel like now my dog's making noise. She heard that we were talking about something else. So anyway, long story short, I feel like it's been a huge blessing to me, that it's been the transition, but it is interesting. Everything changes and ends, but it's how we handle those transitions. So the Wonder Within is all types of wellness to bring hope and healing to people, specifically who maybe feel the least healable. But I feel blessed.
How many of those books back there have you read? Don't lie to me.
Oh, geez. I've really only front to back. I'll just be honest. I've probably only read 5 books front to back, but I have
Right.
touched on every one of them babies except for my kids' books.
Right.
You know, and I
Yeah, I
just
don't
think
want to
that they're
read my
just gonna
kids'
like,
books because God forbid I know what they're consuming. Just kidding.
listen, I just think it seeps into me. The knowledge
It
just
does.
seeps
It
as long
does.
as you've got it on the shelf.
I have stacks and stacks of books. They're like, oh, I'm gonna get to it. I want to read it. Guess where they still are? Stacks. Stacks. And some of them are on a shelf. Have the best intentions. This is what I want to say about you, Amber. That's it's a kudo. Don't worry, it's not going to be. You're not going to be mad about it. So many people, because I'm a moderately successful public speaker, you give speeches and yada yada, and so many people come to me and they're like, "Hey, do you have any advice on like speaking and whatever?" And so many people ask, and I always sort of say the same sort of guidance, the same sort of things. So like, here's what you should or shouldn't do, and here's some things you should do. Nobody does it. You, on the other hand, like you did it. I'm like, you should talk to this person. You're like, I scheduled a meeting. You should do this. And like, you are like the doer out there who's out there getting it done. And that's just, it's a really great attribute to have. And so I get inspired by it. I'm like, damn, she just like did all the things that I said. And now she's off like actually doing it all the time. And I'm just like, oh, I love to see that. So good on you. Good on you. You're out there getting it done. And I think that's it's pretty powerful. Like knowing what you want to do, maybe not reading all the books. Like, well, let's focus on the positive. knowing what you want to do, and then like actually doing the things is something that doesn't happen very often. So just wanted to give you that kudo.
Thank you. Well, thanks for inspiring me. You are a not just moderately successful, a very successful speaker. And Mary Kelly is who you recommended me to,
Yes,
and
I did.
she is phenomenal. And you know, it's amazing because I think coaches are important, but like again, that's such a dime a dozen in our culture. Just like a speaker, everybody wants to be a speaker, everybody wants to be a coach. And um, what you said from the beginning, though, this like light and authenticity is what both of you bring. And not that everyone has the opportunity to bring their light, right? But it's
Right.
like so many of us are just not moving something, our thinking, our body, our breath, whatever, or we're stuck. And I just want to give kudos to both of you because Nick, you've been through a hell of a lot lately, and Dan, you've been through so much in your entire life. And it's like you keep showing up, and like, what else is there? It's death if we don't, right? So, yeah, just you guys both inspire me big time.
Thank you. Yeah. What came up for me when just there that you said is just how important it is to have people on your side. You know, like there was just a couple weeks, I guess it was like a month after my dad passed, Dan and I got on a podcast, and it was like one of the last things I really wanted to do. I wanted to keep kind of putting it off. But Dan was like, yeah, let's do it. Come on, let's get on there. Let's get it going. And we did it, and we talked, and we had a couple laughs, and it was really healing for me to start putting myself out there again in that way. I'm like somewhat isolated in the sense that I live in Idaho. My business is in California. You know, in September it was hunting season, so I had a chance to get out and to be in the wilderness and to be by myself and all that, and that was healing as well. But really, when I started getting around people and sharing and talking and you know, connecting through shared suffering in some way, I really that's when I feel like I've started to make some progress moving forward. And that I would say, and speaking with you about you, Amber, and Dan, of course, is that you know, you're always like, when I get a hold of you and we're contacting each other and we're talking to each other, you'll leave me an audio message for like, it's like a 2.5 minute audio message, or walking through a store talking about random things, but or like you'll want to jump on the phone, but like you really take the time to engage. And it's not just like a quick little text message here and there. It's like, and sometimes it is, but if it has to be, but it's really, I feel like you really care and really want to connect and engage. And for me, that's something that stands out. And anyway, I just want to let you know how much I appreciate that, both of you, that you're here for me. And I feel like for people who are going through some sort of suffering, that community is incredibly important.
Agreed. No, I mean, I just came back from being with my Baptiste yoga community, which it's been like 5.5 years since we've done something. Baron has done something, but along the way, like showing up, and went to Africa and did some things. But like something that brought the corners of the earth out in community. It was really cool to be at the all-day immersion in Nashville, and had Lulu Fraga from Mexico, Leandra Antonucci came down from Canada. We had people from all over, so the whole country. Sean came from San Francisco, and I was just with Sean hunting actually, and I jacked my leg up, by the way. So I'm like limping into Nashville, and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta sort of open for Baron. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be like limping up on the stage. It's not gonna be good, but I was able to rally. But it was when I got there, it's so funny, and I just want to tell the story just a little bit, that for the last 5.5 years, like I've been working with you, Nick, and talked to you, Amber, and it's sort of like I have my community, and they're like sort of out there. And I was hurt coming into physically hurt coming into Nashville, and obviously just dealing with everything of like everyday life. I have a slab leak in my floor, and there's water coming into my floor as we speak right now, and like all these sort of like traumatic, but I mean not so traumatic things, and then in my past, and like all this stuff weighing on my mind. And I have a 15-year-old who's driving, and she wants a brand new car, and I'm like, what do you mean a brand new car? Like, what's wrong with you, right? So, and then her mom's like, we should do it because we're not together with her mom. I'm like, you're on an island by yourself, and I'm just dealing with all this life stuff, and I'm physically hurt. And I get into the lobby to check into the hotel, and they're my people right there. And the pain went down almost to zero. Like the air lifted, like the lightness lifted. And I was like, this feels so good to be home. And I'm not even at home. I'm in Nashville. And it's just goes to like what you said, Nick. It's a power of community that really makes you feel at home when you're not at home physically, and not at home in your body, not at home in your mind. And you just get around people. And I bet, and like, I mean, I don't know what anybody else's life or day was like, but I bet it was the same for all of them. They're dealing with whatever they're dealing with. They're carrying whatever they carried into the room. And then here we are together. And it's like God reaches in and snatches it all off of you. And you just get to be in community with people. It was inspiring.
That's
I
awesome.
love
I'm
that.
glad you had a good experience, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I
miss both of you there, by the way.
No doubt. What do you say about that, Amber? Power of community.
Oh, it's huge. The right community too. But I think there's something, again, let's just say it because I've been in many groups that people say it's cult-like. And I think the awareness with the community of Baptiste yoga, because I've been in other yoga communities, I think you both have as well. And Nick, you got a studio, so you know all about the community, like creating that community there. But at the end of the day, there is some seeing of each other there, but there is like this, everything I heard you say, Dan, was expansion, right? So like all the things in life, it's constriction, constriction, constriction. It's more piling onto our plate, filling the balloon with more air, however you want to look at it, more pressure building up. And it's like your like your valve just opened up and all this pressure got to come off. And it doesn't mean that all that shit's not out there for you to have to handle, because it is. But being able to be in a community of people that are light and truly like, they all got their own shit too, but like you're not meeting there to talk about your shit. You're meeting there to expand together. And I think that's what I love about the Baptiste community. It's funny because, I'm like, I saw this Buffalo thing. I'm going to be coming in from Texas the day before. I'm like, oh, can I swing it? It's a 4.5 hour drive. And it's like, my coach just recently told me, like, if there's even a maybe, it's a no. And then someone else said, if it's a fuck yes, pardon my French, you guys know we all cuss, but if it's a fuck yes, do it. But if it's not a fuck yes, don't do it. And it's like that pull to go to Buffalo, and then hearing Dan talk, it's like, there's no coincidence. It's like, it's a fuck yes. Like, you can do it. You've done tighter things, but the cost of it, like, everything has a cost, but it's absolutely going to expand me. I get to see people I love. I get to go, do the thing that I love. But what you're talking about is expansion. It's like pressure relief. And I just think it's powerful. And that just goes back to what Dan having you, Nick, get on this podcast. Like it's time to get back. Um, Isolation feels like comfort until, we realize that this comfort is misery, in my opinion. And that happens pretty quickly, and I did that after my brother died, like just isolating at night when everybody was asleep. I'd just drink, like, and I really was doing it because I needed to go to sleep, but I just couldn't like quiet. And I didn't realize how much the isolation was killing me, because I thought in my head I'm not really affecting other people, but we're always affecting other people if it's affecting us. And it was fucking killing me. So I just love that for you, Dan, and thanks for inspiring me to get back to it. And
Yes.
um, yeah, and I recently went to a jujitsu camp. It's Jocko's immersion camp up in Maine, and it was the same thing there. There's
Yeah.
500 people. There's only about 30 women, just aligned people, literally showing up every day to be the best version of themselves. Like everybody I met, just showing up to be the best version of themselves. And I think that the more you surround yourself with that, it's like, how can you not be lifted? Right? That what's the saying about the rising tide lifts all boats or whatever, it's like
Yeah.
just
Rising tide
powerful.
lifts all ships.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
It's true. And
Boom.
you said something, Amber, that it just struck me too. You said that isolation is misery.
Hmm.
And I think you're onto something there. And that also, cliche as it is, but misery loves company.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And so it's meaning not with you because you're isolated, but you're like, oh, if everybody's isolated. So like say your community, they're all dealing with whatever, and then we retreat into isolation. And that's exactly what Satan wants for us, is like these
Mhm.
powerful people. No, go sit in your home and isolate. Just be miserable. All of you together be miserable, because when you come together, the sort of movement you can make to affect positive change in the world. I don't want that, you know? So I'm talking as Satan. I don't like it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like that, I don't want that. And so, yeah, be isolated. Isn't it comfortable? Isn't this
Mhm.
nice? Oh, catch up on your Netflix, or just doom scroll on whatever social media app that is the flavor of the month. And then just check out. Yeah. Perfect. And
Yep.
yeah, isolation is misery, and misery loves company. And that is not
100%.
what we at our best selves are up to.
The one thing I struggle with in that too is, though, I know that I need time for myself. A lot of times I give so much of myself that I feel like when I finally like step away from the people and the things, that I'm just like stuck in my, don't feel like I have any freedom. And physically, since my dad died, I've been sick, man. Like
Mm.
it's getting better and better, but it's been held up in my body, especially in my lungs. I've had this horrible cough that's just slowly getting better, but I just feel like all of that was like just held inside of me. And so I have a hard time understanding and creating a discipline. I don't know. I'm interested in what you all think, but creating a discipline around finding some balance in me time that's healthy and community time that's healthy, to a place where I can actually expand as a person. Cause I feel like if I'm out of balance in one way or the other, that I don't expand, I just get sick and don't feel good. What do you
That's
think on that?
that's a good point. Well, also it's the whole, like, everything's fine in moderation, right? And so
Mhm.
it's I think it's really recognizing, if you're recognizing, I've been doing too much, it's time to go and have some self-care. Or if you recognize, I've been kind of sitting here and my to-do list has not been checked off, and my, people, I haven't seen my people in a while, then it's time to make a change. And awareness is the key, and that's where the mindfulness piece comes in. It's like, how do you, like, if you're in meditation, it's, people ask me all the time, or like I get feedback, oh, you suck at meditation. I'm like, everybody sucks at meditation. It's like, if you get just to the point that you're recognizing that you're having a thought, like, that's the win, is
Yeah.
noticing that you're having a thought when you're supposed to just be present. And then so when it's the noticing that's the win, and then you notice it, and then what do you do when you notice it? Do you just keep on thinking, or do you go back to your breath? You go back to your anchor,
Yeah.
whatever that is. And so it's decision in the moment that you have awareness of something that matters. And it's like making the right choice. And I think, Nick, in your case, you seem to be doing a pretty good job, man. Like, you've had some crazy stuff. And have you ever read Bessel van der Kolk's book, The Body Keeps the Score?
No, I have not.
That's a really good one. And so he talks about how unresolved trauma, unresolved life, right? Like things not dealt with, like explicitly, is stored in your actual physical body. It can manifest as sickness, pain, lack of flexibility, all of that. It's sort of an academic read, but it's good. You can get the Cliff's Notes actually and just be good. Like you don't have to consume the whole book.
Yeah.
The idea behind it's really great.
You can just YouTube him too. I did a training with him last year. He is so freaking awesome. I mean, he was one of the first dudes working with PTS. Like, he was working with Vietnam veterans. But Nick, I wanted to tell you, and I don't know if you know this, and Dan, I don't know if you do or not. I'm sure you both have heard it, but that grief is literally stored in the lungs. So every organ takes on a certain emotion, and grief is attached to your lungs. So there's no coincidence there that you're telling me that. And that's what's so interesting, because on average, we're using 10% of our lung capacity in America. The breath of stress and sadness is short, shallow, sharp. So it's up here, right? We're not going to get down into the diaphragm, into the deep breathing. But it's very interesting that that's where those things live. And actually, when I was going through some wellness coach training, Dr. Andrew Weil, you guys might have heard of him. Who invented that 4-7-8 breath. He was just a huge believer that COVID would not have killed the people it killed if we weren't so sad, stressed, and not breathing. Like, so much of it, the attack on the lungs was really not because COVID attacked the lungs. It's because Americans were not using their lungs, and they're sad and stressed all the time. It's so interesting. So I think it's no coincidence that you're a yoga teacher. It's no coincidence that you love nature. And to go to your question about, how much time is right for me, it's a delicate balance. You are a busy guy. And, sometimes, like, that's when my brother died, I offloaded the studios, and I like, people thought I was crazy. I don't care. Like, that was, to me, that was time to just say, no, I'm abandoning my children. I'm abandoning my family for what? For the wonder within? Like, where's that going to be one day? And I completely changed my entire landscape of my business, really, because of my brother's death, because I was like, life is fragile, it's short. And before I know it, if I were to leave tomorrow, my kids are going to remember mom being gone at work all the time. So I think that only you can answer that, like Dan said. And I think you have an amazing awareness, so you'll get to it. But just don't be surprised if big things are coming up to change. I don't know what that might be for you, but I think that sometimes these really hard times are here to create earthquakes within us, to truly sprout something completely new from those cracks, So that's my thought.
Yeah, thank you for that. No, I didn't realize that trauma is stored in the lungs. That's interesting to hear that. It's like, I had a grief. Yeah, I had a bout with pneumonia a few years ago. Another interesting thing, right? When people that I know die, like, all of a sudden I'm like, shit, am I next? Like, what's, really, there's this realization that I start to have, and then I get stuck on this thought of, like, it really could happen at any time. There's no way of knowing. And then I have, lately I've been in my head a little bit about that too. I'm like, oh my God, am I sick? Is something wrong with me? It's like, it's a lot, man. It's a lot to carry all of that. And I don't necessarily understand. I'm just doing the best that I can with what I have and what I know to deal with the grief, but I don't necessarily understand what works and what doesn't work. Like, when I'm meditating, like you talked about, Dan, when I'm meditating or doing yoga, like, all of a sudden I'll have a thought about my dad, and then all of a sudden I'm just crying like crazy. And I'm like, what do I do? Do I just let go of that, or like try and stop and get back to my breath? I'm like, that's what I'm trying to do. But then, is it also good to just kind of feel it and have the emotions come through? I don't know. Part of me, it's the vulnerability part of me is new, and it's really uncomfortable.
There's a saying that, who was it? Oh man, I'm so terrible. I hate that because I see her face, and she's up in Buffalo, and she's a professor, and she teaches psychology, and she's a Baptiste yogi, and she has an organization called Yogis in Service. And I see her face and her names that I'm blaming that on brain injury. I can't get her name out of my head right now, but when she does her sort of Yogis in Service training, she has this thing that she says is that you have to feel so you can heal. And I really believe that. So it's sort of like a lot of times, especially as men, and I don't want to put it all on guys, but I think it's more common in men. It's like when the feelings come up, we're like, oh no, I have to like rise above. I have to power through. I have to kind of keep moving. No, like we're still human beings. In order to heal from something, you have to feel it all to completion. I get it. I like feel everything out. And then when you feel that you've completely, I've mourned enough, I've cried enough, I've been sad enough, like I've given this grief its due, then you can let it go. When it comes back up, you're like, I've already grieved, I've already felt all the things I need to feel. And then you can like actually be able to let it go. Oh, it's a really powerful thing. Why? And I still, her name right through my head. Man, I feel like such a loser. I can't. Oh man, I hope she's not listening, because I know your name. It's just stuck behind a wall of something. And
You got her face.
What's that? Yeah, I can see her face. I know all about her. Like oh man, doctor. Right.
So like the moment you're not thinking about it, it'll come up.
It'll go, and I'll just scream it out in the middle of the night. It was so dumb. I know her really well, actually. So dumb. Anyway, and also I'm going to say something too. It's so funny. And Nick, did you do this too? Because Amber, when you brought up, we only breathe 10%, the shallow, short, and sharp. Did you change your breathing? I'm like,
just now I did too.
Someone reminds you.
Yeah.
What you're not doing, and it's you go back to default, and it's like, oh man, I wish my default was better breathing. But it's so good when someone reminds you to breathe, and you're like, oh yeah, I feel better almost instantly. Yeah, breath is your most powerful tool, and I believe that through and through.
Well, Nick, I think we talked about this on the last time I was with you, but I always give the constriction dilation thing. If we're constricted, like the breath is not going to go deeper, period. And, we've got these 4 main organs that our body cares about when we're stressed: brain, heart, kidney, lungs. But it cares about the lungs and the fact that you got to make sure you save your life, right? Not let's rest and digest and slow down. And I think about digestion, and I always give the example of poop, because everybody poops and kids think it's funny and whatever. But, you eat, and if you don't poop at some point, you will die. Like it has to move through you and come out, right? And same with drink, same with fluid. And it's like our world teaches us, like, you don't have to digest all the other crap you experience, the grief, the problems, the health issues, and grief is so many layers. It's not just when we lose people we love, but if you don't digest it, it will digest you, period. And I think what you're explaining, like with the tears, there used to be so much ceremony around grief back in the day. And now in America, it's like you got this, I say you have a 5-day period, right? You got to make the plans for the funeral. Funeral happens. You got some close friends that might check in on you, but it's about 3 months, they say, when people stop talking about the person that passed. And that's a horrible fact, but it's like in other cultures, it's a ceremony of life, and they're to be remembered by the best of them, versus we're not going to talk about it. Why? Because we're uncomfortable and life goes on and we're too busy. And it's like, oh no. And I think that, in my opinion, in our culture is why so many people can't let go of their grief, is because it's like they can't properly have a ceremony around it, actually grieve the person they're losing, and then we don't talk about it, and then they don't feel like they have a space to talk about it, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. So it's got to move through you. And for a lot of us, tears are just the sadness moving through. It's got to come out. So let that shit flow.
I live away from where I grew up, so when I go back, it's like this mad, 5 days, this crazy rush where you're like went back and went through my dad's stuff and reconnected with all these people and heard all these stories, and it was great, and it was awesome to be there and saw these pictures and just all those things. But then when I left there, the people that I grew up with and the people that I was surrounded by weren't there, and not there anymore. And then I was back in my everyday life, and of course, like I'm getting texts from people that are like, "Stay strong for your family. Stay, be strong. You have to be strong." Like, well, what does that mean to be strong? Does it like? And I'm getting now that to be strong really is for my boys and my family, anyways, to show my emotion and to share with them what's coming up for me. It's not to like hold it back. But in the past, I thought, it's like to be strong is to like stand in this strong place of like not being affected, but I am affected. And for example, I'd be interested to hear about you all and your experience with like signs. And I don't know if you've read that book. I touched on that book. That's one of those books I kind of fingered through a little bit but how you see signs of people after they've passed. But I told one to Dan about the hawk that I saw when I was hunting, and my dad's totem was a hawk, and it was like this crazy emotional moment for me. It was amazing. But the other night I wanted to tell you this one is new. The other night I took my boys to the Eagle High School football game. And when I was back in Durango and I was clearing out my dad's stuff, there was this one hat that he had I'd never seen ever before. It was like a roping hat for cowboys out of Sheridan, Wyoming. And never seen it before ever. My brother was like, "Can I have that? That'd be cool." I was like, "Yeah, take it." And then at his ceremony, in like 20 pictures, my dad's wearing this hat. Never seen this hat, never heard of it. I don't know anything about it. I don't know where he got it. I'm interested in it, right? Well, I'm sitting there at the Eagle High School football game, and this guy's walking up this bleachers next to me, full crowd of people, trips right next to me, puts his hand down on the bleachers, stands right back up, and I look, and I'm like, "You all right?" And I look, and he's wearing the exact same hat. And I was like, "Great hat, man." He's like, "Thanks." And he walked off, and then there I am at the Eagle High School game, and I'm crying. And Owen looks at me. He's like, what's wrong? What are you crying for? Like, I can't explain it. I feel like I just saw my dad or something. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm crying at a football game. So weird shit like that is happening for me. And it's just,
just thought you lost.
Yeah, I bet on the other team. Damn it. I don't know. So anyway, a lot of that's coming up for me where I feel like vulnerability is becoming strength. And yeah. So how about you all? Do you and people that you've lost in your life, like your brother, Amber, do you see signs of your brother sometimes?
Well, I have a funny story about that because I have a Marine brother-in-law, and I guess no Marines, they're so tough. But we saw all these signs. I was seeing birds. My sister kept seeing rainbows continuously, and she'd send me a picture. And my brother-in-law said to her, "Those rainbows have always been there. Your brother's not sending you those rainbows." And she's pissed off at him, and like, "Don't ruin my sign." And I number one believe there's no coincidence, but number two, he had a point you know, we were looking so hard for signs. Like everything was a sign to me. I would see a shape of a cardinal in a cloud and I'd be like, "Andy sent me that." And it's like, so he had a point that, I believe we get what we're looking for. And sometimes it's like our awareness opens up because, wow, we're looking for a sign from them. And I think that we actually are missing miracles like that all freaking day long
Wow.
because our awareness is so tunnel vision. And so I think absolutely that stuff was for you from your dad, alignment, because they're just on the other side of the curtain. But we think they're a million miles in the sky or wherever. And it's like, I think it's just opening our awareness. And I'm sure you guys have both heard of Joe Dispenza. I've done 2 of his trainings now, and he's freaking amazing. But he talks about this a lot. Like when you open up your awareness, you realize that like there is no coincidence, and yet everything's right here. So every time you're looking for it, it will appear if you just pay attention. But most of our attention is on what? It's on the stress. It's on the shit we got to do. So that's my answer. What about you, Dan?
No, I'm right there with you. I think that, I don't really, well, I mean, my grandparents passed away. But I had this different sort of childhood, I guess, that I love my family. I mean, deeply, but like I never really had these like strong bonds with them, like anybody who's passed. And so, my father's he's always been sort of like ill health, but he's getting up there in age too. He's 81. And, it's like, it's like inevitable, like, like these things. And I don't know how it's going to hit me. However, I completely believe in that your people are sending you signs. It's like, even as like this observer of people who've had that happen, like for you, Nick, and like hearing, I've heard you before, Amber, talk about Andy and the signs that you've had, especially like early on. And, like right after it happened, and I'm completely in belief of no, 100%, like that's real. And even if I'll say it like this, even if it is like, maybe say it's not them giving you a sign. Like, let's say that that's somehow some fact. The fact that the sign is reminding you of the person is keeping that involved in your life and moving you forward in the pot. Because nobody says, "Oh, I got a sign from that asshole." No, they're like, I got a sign from the person I loved. Like, nobody's like, hey, my arch nemesis passed away, and now I'm reminded of him daily when I see a sunflower. No, it's not like that, right? So it's like, say it's not them, but it's the universe, it's God giving you reminders of like to take life for what it is and be present and not take anything for granted. So yeah, I completely believe in the power of signs. And here's the reality of this whole thing, and this is just really for everybody in it. And like Nick, when you had said like, well, like, what if I'm next, like dying, everybody dies. It's sort of like, you have to be like, I'm prepared. I don't want to die. I want to live. And I've had a lot of things go wrong where I could have died, like even pretty recently. And so it's like, I just have to know that if I do die, that I'm good. Like, my soul is taken care of. Like, I'm good. And I believe it's going to be an amazing experience to pass through and go to the other side. But no rush. I want to be as long as I can here on the planet, but just make sure that my soul is prepared to move on. And I think a lot of people are like, well, I don't want my soul to be prepared to move on, because that means like it could have, like, it's like I'm wanting it to happen sooner. Absolutely not, because we have to know that anything can happen at any time. And I want to know that if it is my time, that I am solid. I mean, I sort of even imagine myself being like super old, right? And then like, I'm like, my family's around me and everybody's sad, and I'm like, no, dog, like, no, it's gonna be all it's time. Like, now is the time. Like, I'm not stoked about the idea of dying, but I know when it's time, I will be. If that makes sense. At least I hope so. That's my hope for myself in the future.
Yeah, no, it makes sense, man. That's good. I mean, I made me think about when I went to meet my dad in Colorado Springs. He had had his second stroke, and half his body was paralyzed and he couldn't open his eyes, but he could still squeeze my hand, and he could hear me. And sometimes he would just like lift the side of his lip up when he would have like a laugh or something like that, and then I stayed with him throughout the night, and they took the tube out of his throat, and they started giving him all the drugs and different things to make him comfortable and that whole thing. And then, the next thing it was like, it was morning time, and the sunshine literally like just came right through. It was beautiful, came right through his room. And I just remember being like, it's okay, Dad. Like, it's going to be all right. Like, it's time. Like, I just knew, I felt like that was right. The right time. I was ready for him to just pass on. And it was crazy how he did. It's not that he needed permission, but I feel like he wanted just to be there as long as he needed to be there, for him to feel like it was the right time. And it was, and when it happened, it was beautiful. And now, in a weird way, it was beautiful. Like, I left there feeling like, okay, I'm glad that I got to be there for that. And then, of course, the aftermath of just getting in my head or seeing pictures of him or hearing stories about him and all those kind of things, that's when my emotions really started to stir up. But in that moment, really, and I feel like for him too, it was a good passing, Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful. And I volunteered for hospice for quite a few years in my 20s, and uh, just watched and witnessed that with a lot of people, and it's pretty powerful. And I saw over and over that it wasn't that they were ready, and maybe they felt like the people around them weren't ready. It's like they were holding on, even though they knew they were leaving. And it's like, I heard this guy I was listening to the other day talk about, like, sometimes when we drink, it's kind of like truth serum, right? Like stuff comes out. And I saw that with death, that like this truth serum came out of people because it was like their last chance. And sometimes I don't even think they weren't really there anymore. But the stuff came out that was like it had to get out, right? This truth serum. And um, I think all these things we hold back on, just things that we don't say to people, actions we don't take. And, in this phase of my life, like I don't want to leave anything on the table. I too, Dan, am like, I'm ready to go. Like I'm ready to be with God. If today's the day, um, I know that my soul's in the right place. I don't want to leave. I want to see my children grow, obviously, but it's like, I'm good. And that to me that makes you almost a little unstoppable, because it's like, I think that so many of us leave so much on the table, and, and what that shows up in is shame, right? It's like, oh, and then bitterness and whatever. And it's like, no, man, like this is it. Like we don't know. We don't. And it again, it takes losing someone to realize how freaking close. And Dan, like almost losing your own life, takes that to realize, like, holy shit, I don't know if I got tomorrow. And you really just let all this other stuff go in this world that is just constantly telling us we've got to look good, do this, do that, make this amount of money. And so much of that stuff is just so wrong. And I don't want to go back to the devil thing, but it is devil like shit. You know what I mean? Because no, like all that matters is that we do get to source, get to God. All that matters is that we are right, and that we are living our full potential. And I think so many of us are leaving so much on the table because of so many reasons. So that went off on a tangent, but I just think it's beautiful that you got to be there. And yeah, we just don't know when it's coming. And I don't understand, kids leaving this earth with cancer and things like that. Like I don't understand it. But what I do know, and I think I left this in the message with you, Nick, is like I've never seen, every death that I've seen breaks other people open to a better version of themselves. Now, do some people go down dark hills and don't recover? Yeah, but man, did it break me open to a better version. Dan, look at your life explode because you came so close to death. Nick, look how it's like it's that breaking open, man, and it sucks, but again, they're not far.
Can you talk a little bit more about what it takes to not leave things on the table?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I just like recently had to just level up some shit because I was, some people would think like sleeping until 6 is no big deal. That's getting up early. And I was like, no, like when I was laying my head down at night, I was like, did I really do everything I should have and could have done today? You know, this instrument I'm in, my body and my mind and my soul, the clearer that it is, this conduit, I like to think of it like the clearer it is, the better I am for my kids. You know, if I had a bad day with my kids, did I apologize? Did I make it right? Am I going to show up with love? Like with my business, and that's really not my very top priority, my business. But like if I am speaking, like in a couple weeks, I'm going to be at a prison. It's the first time I've done something like that. I don't want to leave anything on the table. I'm going to get one opportunity to be in front of 800 women that, by the way, just crazy fact. Did you guys know that the warden told me that a male prison, that men will get, and I would love to know from dudes why you think this is, that sometimes in a male prison, one dude could get up to 4 visitors a day, 4 separate women coming to see them a day. But same warden that went from a male prison to a female prison, told me that on average for 800 women, they see 20 visitors a day total. So I'm curious to get back to that in a second, like when I get off this leaving things on the table. Why do you think that is? Because I found that very interesting. But like just every minute, like right here with you guys, I just want to be right here with Dan and Nick because there's nowhere else to be right now. So my phone's not important. That's a freaking blessing. So like that's how I'm not leaving anything on the table in this moment. Um, I love to hear what Dan has to say about that. But I know it's nobody else can tell you you're not living to your full potential. It's what's going on in your head when you lay down at night that's keeping you awake, in my opinion. It's the stuff that quiet voice that's talking to you.
Well, I think I mean, I don't know if I'm right, but I have a thought on why the men get less visitors per day than women, and that
I know
is
men get more.
men get more. I thought you said 4 visitors a day for men and 20 visitors a day for women. That's not
20 for 800 women, 20 visits a day for 800 women, and each
Oh.
man sometimes get up to 4 visits. Sorry.
Oh wow. Okay, so then that completely derails what I was going to say. Because I had it completely different in my head. I was a little shocked by it. But yeah, so why women get less? I don't know.
Hmm.
It's
I
a
don't
really
either.
good question though. I like this, to get to the cultural anthropology. Like, so why that is, it's really, I'm curious about it now.
Yeah.
I have to like go down a rabbit hole on that. Maybe because like, I don't know. And maybe I'm just thinking off the top of my head right here, but it's almost like men, it's sort of like there's a, sort of like a archetype of like the redeemed man, right? And so it's like, oh, well, now like when he comes out of this bigger and better, and like I still want him to know I was on his side. And then where women are sort of always, at least categorically, to some extent, sort of like, no, they're so up on a pedestal, and then when they fall, i.e., they go to prison, it's like, oh, I can't believe I was wrong about them. Maybe I don't know, but or like, oh, redeemed man good, tainted woman bad. Maybe. And I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying that that's sort of like how things could happen.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna think about this for like a month. It's good. It's great. Good
What's your
thinking.
what's your take on it, Amber?
I go right to sex, and I go right to bad boys, and how there's a lot of very unhealed women out there that, because they're unhealed and they're living in this, they, we want, when you're unhealed and when you're not really together as a woman, you are seeking out some disaster and some drama and some, what's the word I'm looking for? Danger. And so, and it's almost like, in my opinion, it's like, well, they're in there. So it's almost a controlling factor potentially from a woman too, because they're not able, I control when you see me. Does that make sense? So I don't know.
Are we talking about conjugal visits, like full, like visit?
No,
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I would assume, but she made it clear that, and this is the warden telling me, that there are many more visits for men per day. So I don't know, but I would say that's got to be involved. But I think that's about behavior. I don't know. I've never been to prison, so I don't.
Thank God, right? Me either. I always told people, this is terrible, but I'm going to say it anyway. I always told people, if you ever see me arrested for something like big and public, I'm like, please, like, I didn't do it. Come to my aid. Because one of the main reasons there's a lot of reasons I don't break the law because I don't want to, but one of the reasons, like, say I was tempted, like, I will not do well in prison. You know what I mean? Like, so I can't run very fast. Sort of like, like, I mean, look, I'm going to say without saying it, like, I won't do well in prison, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm not breaking the law. I'm keeping it above board.
Oh, I've broken the law a lot, and I'm very lucky I was never in prison. But
Right.
I wouldn't say I've done felonies. I've done a lot of
misdemeanors. I've broken the speed, like, and maybe some other things, but I didn't do any prisonable offenses. Let's say it that way. You know what? I shouldn't go here, but it's in my brain. It won't come out. But you know what I've seen a lot lately on like social media, which is probably telling a lot about my algorithm. So sorry. There's like women in prison, and they're like going on and saying like, hey, come donate to my commissary and like come visit me in prison. Like there's like a sort of a advertisement for like, here's my inmate number, hit me up in my commissary and then come visit me.
What are you looking at on that algorithm, man?
So my curiosity is, does the same thing happen with the guys?
Sure.
I don't know.
Totally got side railed. I'm so sorry.
The whole thing. We were in such a good space. I don't have shame.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's funny. I don't really have shame anymore. I mean, I do to an extent. I mean, I realize that I'm a human being, and I move through the world completely flawed and fallible, and I try to do the right thing all the time, and it's never 100%. And I feel like that's everyone, but then people don't talk about the things that they're like, well, I don't want to say that in public, or like, I don't want to let people see that side of me. I'm like, what's the, like, well, then it's who I am. I'm a little bit deviant, but like, I'm a good person and I'm not going to hurt anybody. And I'm going to, you know, so I don't know. I just don't care. Somebody came to me like after, I don't know if it's the right place to bring it up, but like I posted something after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and just like how I thought it was, like I admired the guy. He was completely convicted in something, and he believed in it so much, and he was just trying to bring young people to Christ. And was he like, do I think his tactics were always like super awesome in debates? No, right? But like he had a goal and he was relentless in pursuing his goal, and I found that very, very admirable. And then somebody I used to know, like, sort of came at, you have to be a couple people. A bunch of people unfollowed me, like, good riddance, whatever. And then a couple people were like, no, you have to be careful of your reputation and like whatever. I'm like, it's none of my business what anyone else thinks of me. It's not my concern. It's none of my business what they think of me. I feel like I'm a good human being, and I'm sort of, and even if a person isn't perfect, there's a whole lot of great things to say about that man. And so like, I wasn't afraid to say them. And if somebody wanted to say whatever, do whatever, so be it. Fine. It's not my business. None of my concern what anybody else thinks of me, because I feel I'm doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, dang right, dude.
I think that there's so much there, because it's like the longest relationship you're going to have is yourself. That's the one that you've got to be able to be good with, and God. And at the end of the day, I think I lost a lot of followers, you know, during COVID, because I supported cops. I've supported cops before COVID, and then the George Floyd thing happened, and I'm not getting political here, but at the end of the day, those weren't my people. And it hurt, because I thought these were people that, like, I loved them. I loved those people. And for whatever reason, you know, they never had the courage to really come and tell me, but they spoke out in different ways. But at the end of the day, I just had to sit with that and really say, Amber, do you believe what you're doing is good? Yeah. Okay. And I'm with you, Dan. It's crazy. And what's really crazy to me is like, that really shows more about them than us anyways. And it isn't any of our business what other people think of us, but this is a big problem in the world, because there are people that will never listen to something that really would open their awareness, just because of one sliver of thing they think they know about the person. That goes back to that awareness and the signs that you're seeing. We get whatever we're looking for. So I don't know. It's trying to like not attach meaning to so much, right? Like we try to do in our world, and damn, it's tough. But yeah, they just fuck them. They're not our people. So
boom, mic drop.
Should that be the name of this podcast? Fuck them. They're not our people. Bam. Sometimes those phrases just come up. Yeah. I mean, and I think like, but from what I'm getting from both of you and what's coming up for me is that it really, I don't know why I want to say sharing is caring, but in some way it's like that for your body, if you're not standing up for and saying what it is that you intuitively feel is right, then you're holding on, you're contracting, like you talked about, Amber, you're contracting, you're not being your full version of yourself. And in the relationship to grief and things we've talked about there as well, is if you don't let it like flow through you, then it gets stuck inside of you, you know. And I feel like that both of those things really tie in. Everything we've talked about ties into how we can really show up and be bigger, better versions of ourselves.
Amen. And know when you're in the right community.
Yeah.
That's right. Fuck them. They aren't our people. Fuck them. Ain't my people.
Fuck them.
Let's do some closing thoughts. Let's start with you, Dan. Dan, what are some closing thoughts for you from today's episode?
Wow. I think closing thoughts for me is I'm realizing how much importance there is around having a good community. A community, not necessarily everyone thinks the exact same, but they have shared values and shared interests and a shared sort of understanding of the way that life works and sort of what works and what doesn't work when it comes to dealing with trauma, stress, and just life as it unfolds. And I'm left in gratitude for my Baptiste yoga community. I'm left in gratitude for and a sort of a renewed appreciation for my family, realizing that the lack of connection I feel is probably all on me, not so much on them. And I'm also just left with this comfortability that in the very distant future, when it's time for me to pass through to the other side, that I'm ready. And if people aren't my people, fuck them.
Love you, man.
But with love, though, with love, like not like fuck them and die, but just like fucking let them be happy somewhere else. That's sort of what I mean.
Fuck them, they can find their own people.
Right.
Love you, man. Thank you. Awesome. Amber, how about you?
I love you both. I think just to piggyback on Dan, it's like, you know, our body has all the wisdom, to go back to the body keeps the score. And like the people that make you feel expansion and like light and free. And you know, feel completely comfortable speaking to both you guys. Just keep putting yourself around those people and pay attention to how many times you keep putting yourself with people that maybe make you feel the exact opposite way. Not to make them wrong, not to say they're a bad person. Just maybe they're not supposed to be on the walk with you in this moment, you know, and maybe have a boundary around that. So just keep being around people that make you feel free. And I'm not saying free to do bad things. I'm saying just authentic yourself. You can flow, you have expansion, because that's really everything. You know, it's where we really grow from, is when we feel like we can really just put those walls down. And that's how I feel with both of you. And thanks for you guys just having this platform and doing this, because that is what this is for. You know, it's to, what an amazing world we're in, that we have all these podcasts for people to be able to share, and the right fucking people be able to hear it. Amen.
Amen. Yeah. Love you, Amber. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this episode of the Mindful Dudes podcast with the mindful lioness, Amber Miskovich. That's right. And Amber, most definitely, we should do more of these. It'd be really great to have you on multiple times during a season. It'd be really fun to have you. You add so much to my life, and I really appreciate you as a friend and a leader in the world. Both of you, and Amber, you really inspire me a lot. Mindful Dudes is a show on Play Hard and Love Big Radio, which is the official podcast of Spotted Dog Yoga and SUP, based out of Folsom, California. Hey, we're going to Costa Rica in April. You guys should come if you want. Get some surfing vibes in. Surfing, chilling, doing all those things. My favorite thing when I went down to Costa Rica last time is they have the guys in the carts with ceviche by the beach, you know, and then they have coconuts with machetes, and they just chop the top of those things off, stick a straw in it, and you can just suck down coconut water just like that. It's amazing. But we're headed there, and you should check it out. Play Hard and Love Big Radio is also sponsored by Kumquat Energy and Hydration. You can pick some of those up at the Dog in Folsom. And thanks for following us. Thanks for sharing this show. And you all have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Amber. Peace out.
Guys.
Yeah.
Play hard, and Love Big Radio podcast. Inspiration on your station with the show broadcast. You don't want to miss it. You gotta listen. Good vibes and stories for you to go the distance. Bringing inspiration, stories that shine. Helping you connect heart and mind aligned. Live your best life, lift up and soar. Feel by come quiet energy, we give you more. Play hard and love.